guys a little bit closer to me. And then, yeah, my plan today was just some extra shoulders, neck, and hips. So we're gonna start seated. You guys will get to see my belly that I feel like I should be in the middle of my third trimester. I guess that's what happens with second babies. And it's really cold here, so I might keep my layers on for a while. But let's start seated, legs crossed, however you are comfortable. And let's just transition a bit to being here. So a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Taking your mind off what came before this, taking your mind off the world around us, and instead turning inward, checking in with yourself. What do you notice about your mind? Is it already quieting, or is it racing, or somewhere in between? How is your heart? Are you feeling sad or hopeful or somewhere in between? And then how is your body? So if you haven't already, closing the eyes to reduce the senses as much as possible. How is your body? Do you have any aches or pains? Do you have tight spots? Are you feeling heavy today? Or do you feel light? Or again, somewhere in between. Some deep breaths. Make sure that you are sitting tall, the spine is long. As you take the next couple deep breaths, imagine that your sits bones actually grow roots through your mat. So feeling that grounded feeling, feeling the safe space of this sacred time of yoga. And then at the same time, feeling whatever it is that it might be for you. Maybe it's light. Maybe it's an imaginary branch growing out through the crown of your head, reaching out and up to the rest of the universe. So feeling connected both to what's under us and to what's above and around us through our own body. And just sit there for a couple more breaths, thinking about those two images, roots growing out through the mat, grounding you to the mat, and light or branches or whatever you want it to be, reaching up towards the sky and out around you. Then maybe while keeping eyes closed, lean back into your hands and bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Knees can be wide. And then feet can be wide. Walk the knees side to side. So because we're gonna spend some time on the hips today, we're gonna do a lot to warm them up. before we try to get into them, and this is just the beginning of warming them up. And then maybe tilt one way and take a breath there. And then tilt the other way, take a breath there. And then come back to center, cross the legs again. And feel once again those roots grounding. And then once you're seated, hands on the front of the knees, you can close your eyes again and start to circle the torso. So thinking about the chest and the heart space. So shining forward, try to connect that to your inhale, and curling back, try to connect that to your exhale. And as you move, think about those hips. So notice the motion that you get in the hips, and if you don't have very much, try to make the motion in the hips even bigger. And also notice the sits bones. So you should be rocking maybe even off the sits bone as you go to the opposite side. So you're making little circles on your sits bones. Linking the motion, making the circle of your heart space, both front, side, back, side, as large as possible. I like to think about my heart shining out in all those directions. So the back half, my heart is shining out the back part of my heart space. And then the next time you get to the front, reverse the direction. Try to keep the circles as big as they were, but if you need to make them a little bit smaller just because of the directionality, you can do that and then work back into the bigness. Connecting the motion with the breath, really imagining that your love from your heart space, all the good things that you hold there are shining out, and you're sharing them with the world around you as you move. And then start to make the circle a little bit smaller. Feel the sits bones remain on the mat as you continue to move. Feel the circles that your sits bones make get smaller and smaller. And then eventually find the center of both sits bones and grow tall through the spine. And then on your next exhale with the torso still, allow the right ear to descend towards the right shoulder. Take a couple of breaths there. If you don't feel anything in your neck, which like I'm so tight I can't imagine, you can take your right hand and help the head go a little bit further. But most of us have enough tension, especially right now, that we don't need any help getting to it. And then gently and slowly, so super slowly, let the chin come down to the chest, but let the journey be what you're experiencing instead of getting the chin down to the chest. That might take a breath or two. And then once the chin is tucked in, just pause there. Try to keep the rest of the back long, shoulders down away from the ears. And once again, if you get to this space and have enough openness, or get to a place that you have enough space and openness, that you're no longer feeling a stretch. You can always use a hand to help tuck the chin a little bit more. And then if you were using a hand, maybe on the next breath, release. And then again, the journey is what we are going for, so go slowly. But you're eventually going to bring left ear above left shoulder. And if you find a spot that's like, oh my goodness, that's tight, you can pause there and take a breath. So trying not to rush ourselves, trying to give space and time to allow the tension to melt away. And then again, once the left ear is hovering above the left shoulder, if you need to use a hand to increase the stretch, feel free to do that. If you're using that hand, go ahead and release. And then at your own pace, so you can go quicker or you can go really slow. We're just going to do little half circles. So you're going to bring the chin to the chest and then start over at the beginning, the right ear to the right shoulder, and then back around that little half circle. So once again, pause wherever you need to take a breath or two. Or if the motion feels better in your body, keep moving. So just really tuning into what you need, what your body needs. We're going to do about 6 more breaths. So just pace yourself. If you know that there's a tight spot that you want to get to, make sure you give it the time and the breaths that it needs. And then eventually bring the chin down to the chest. Bring hands to heart center. Just pause for a moment, looking inward. And then lift the head, open the eyes. And we're gonna, again, bring the hands behind us, lean back. Maybe this time take feet a little bit more narrow and rock the hips. So this might feel different than when feet are wide. We're just trying to get into the hips multiple different ways before we actually get to the hips. And then come up and we're gonna actually bring our legs into a small V. So don't go to like your extreme. Come in a little bit from your extreme. And if that's still not comfortable, you can always put a bend in the knees. And if you have like blankets or pillows close, you can put blankets or pillows under the knees to keep that bend. And then you don't have to like actually use your muscles to have that bend. So small little V, but we are going to try to point the toes up towards the ceiling as much as possible. So if you have tight calves, which I do because they've been cramping at night, or tight Achilles tendons, or tight hamstrings, or plantar fasciitis issues, just be gentle with yourself for how far you bring those toes up. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. We're gonna do this just a little bit differently than we usually do. We're gonna side bend here with our legs in a V. Inhale, back to center when you feel ready. Exhale over to the other side. Try to keep those sits bones grounded even though we're in a V. Inhale, and then go at your own pace. So you can go one breath to one movement, or you can pause on either side to really open that side space. We're gonna do shoulders next. So just think about how your shoulders feel in this motion as well. And then once you've gone to your second side, when you come back to center, we're going to gently come forward. So wherever your body stops you is fine. Let the hands come down to the ground to support you. Let the head hang heavy, chin tucked into the chest. Once again, just notice wherever you are feeling the stretch. It could be like literally anywhere along your back side. So all the way from the neck, down the back, into the hips, hamstrings, calves, Achilles, bottom of the feet. And then come up just a tiny bit. So scooch the hands towards the body just a little bit, and then walk the hands over to the right. And maybe both hands will land on the outside of your right leg. Maybe your left hand will stay on the inside. It doesn't matter where you get to. We just want to create a little bit of a twist in the body as we are forward folded. Head still hangs heavy. Try to keep that left sits bone grounded as much as possible. You might notice that if there's some intensity in your right leg, it got a little bit stronger and the left leg eased up a little bit. That's fine. Start to move the hands back towards center. Remember, you're not at your deepest point. You're backed off to like 60% maybe, and then walk the hands over to the right or whichever side you haven't done yet. Deep breaths. And then walk the hands back to the center and maybe allow your body to go a little bit deeper if you still have space, if you didn't allow your body to go into the deepest fold. Think about those toes pointing to the ceiling. If they have any space to move up, allow that. And then gently walk the hands towards the body, rolling up. And then cross the legs with the not the way you usually do. So for me, that's my left leg out in front. And this is just to like even out our sides because we're really gonna focus on our arms. So I'm gonna turn around so you can see me. So however works for you, I want you to try to grasp, you can grasp hands. You can work towards wrists. You can work towards forearms, or you can wiggle, wiggle, wiggle to try to take hold of opposite elbows behind the back. I should have said that before. So wherever you are, hopefully feeling an openness across the shoulders. And I'm gonna say that for the moment, it's okay, even if you let your ribs kind of pop forward. So we really wanna emphasize the openness in the shoulders. So take a breath. You can even sigh out the mouth. So all of us are spending a lot of time on computers, and I think that's true no matter what profession you're in now. And so doing some things to open up the upper half of our body is really important. So depending on if you have like wrists or forearms, there's one arm that's kind of on top, maybe. So if you have that, go ahead and try to switch the arms. If you have like one arm closer to your back and one arm further away, switch it that way. So whichever way you had your grasp, try to switch it. And just be gentle and kind with yourself, your psyche, and your body, because however you did it originally is probably the easier way. So however you're doing it now is probably a little bit more tight. And you can play with movement as well. So you can play with like twisting a little bit, the shoulders to one direction, and then twisting a little bit. You can also play with opening the chest and lifting the chin even more. So just play. So I highly suggest doing this anytime your hands don't have to be on your keyboard. So if you're in a meeting and you're just listening, do this stretch. And then when you're ready, go ahead and gently release. Bring the arms back, shake out the arms, shake out the shoulders, and then roll the shoulders side to side. We're gonna do a little bit more with opening the front body once we get on our hands and knees. Okay, so one more time, we're gonna lean back into our hands. We're gonna take our feet wider than our hips, and we're gonna rock the knees. So notice when my knees go down, they're kind of like a, what is that? Like a windmill. So that's kind of what I want. I want your knee to be able, it doesn't have to come down to the ground, but I don't want it on top of your foot. So your feet have to be wide enough to leave enough space for the lower leg. So the next time that you come over to the right, wherever your legs are, so maybe your legs are here, I want you to try to walk your hands forward and maybe even like gently rest your left hand on your left leg. And if you have space or want to try, you can rest your hand on your hip crease or just below your hip crease on your upper thigh. So we all feel things differently in our bodies, but maybe you're feeling like some intensity in this hip that is down, so your left hip. And intensity is good, but pain is bad. So if you ever feel pain while we're doing this, make sure you back off. Okay, lean back. Gently come back to center. Maybe do like a baby rock side to side. And then go over to the left. And then sit up a little bit more. Right hand maybe comes to the thigh, maybe comes to the thigh right under the hip crease. And gently like just rests there. So we're not pushing We're just using the weight of our hand and arm to provide a little bit of attention towards the mat. Deep breaths. I watched a silly video of kids holding their hands in ice. And the first time, each of them made it like 6 to 8 seconds. Like it was pretty the same. And then the people asked them to smile and do the same thing. So put a smile on your face and put your hand in. And the shortest someone made it was 14 seconds. So they were just showing that like intensity, and in their case, pain, discomfort can be tolerated better when you are smiling. So maybe turn the corners of your mouth up. Gently take the hand off, lean back, gentle, 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 maybe baby, knee rocks, and then maybe full knee rocks. And then we're gonna come back over to the first side. So for me, that's the right side because I'm mirroring you, so I'm lying actually. And we're gonna sit up again. So this time you can prop yourself up with your hands, like wherever they feel good, but kind of sitting up. So like my right sits bone is not on the mat at all, right? Like my right bum is kind of hovering a little bit. And if you can, lift that right knee while you're sitting up and then let it drop. And then try to do that fast. We've done this before. I don't know if you guys remember, but do it like 20 times. Drop, 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 drop. And then pause. And then lean back, gently come out of it. Baby knee rocks are amazing, I think, in between. Come over to the second side. So over to the left. Prop yourself however you need to with your hands. Lift that left knee and let it drop. And then drop, 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 drop. About 20 times. You can do it a little bit more if you want. It might feel weird, but really let it drop. Try to relax all your muscles except that one muscle that's lifting, and then relax it when it drops. And then when you've done it about 20 times, pause, hold, smile, breathe, and then lean back and shake it out. So maybe baby knee rocks, and then I'm gonna encourage you to extend one leg and shake out one leg. And then make the other leg go long and shake out the second leg. So like kick it, like you're trying to get something off your foot that you don't want. Good. All right, and then bring the legs over to one side and up and over onto hands and knees. Once you get there, begin by doing some cat-cows. So just double check the alignment so that your wrists are under your shoulders, knees are under hips, and with the breath, cows, let the belly descend down towards the mat. Cats, tuck the chin, belly comes up in towards the spine. You can add any movement if you want to rock the hips, if you want to do circular cat-cow. Listen to your body, whatever it is asking for today. and then come back to neutral table. So I'm gonna turn towards you, and you might wanna turn towards the long edge of your mat. 2 weeks ago, I showed you guys that new pose of thread the needle, but with one leg out. So Leslie, just be careful when the hurt heel goes out. You can probably do this. Just try to keep the weight in the toe, the ball of the toe, which I would not usually suggest. But I've gotten obsessed with this pose. I don't generally like thread the needle because it, anyway, for lots of reasons. I've become obsessed with this. Like, I feel like there's a lot of openness that happens. So we're gonna practice it again. So keep hands down, but extend the, left leg out. And just make sure your heel is lined up to your knee, which mine was not. And so if you're facing on the long edge of your mat, I find that it's nice to have your knee like way back at the back edge, because then you have a lot of space for your hands and your arms. So inhale when you're ready, sweep the, oh my gosh, I'm so confused. The opposite arm from the leg that's out. Yes, up to the sky, and then thread the needle underneath, turn to the side of the head. Sometimes I have to move the hand that's in front of my face out a little bit, just because I feel like there's so much space. And then you can press into that hand. And then, as I've played around with this almost every single day in the last 2 weeks, I really like extending that arm up towards the sky. So thinking about, again, opening that heart space, that shoulder space, and maybe even, if you feel balanced enough, trying to reach that arm back a little bit. You can wrap and get that kind of same idea, but I like keeping my hand up in the sky. So you can play around with where this hand goes. 2 weeks ago, I know I had it above our head on the mat, but I really like it up in the sky. Just lots of space in the torso. 2 more breaths. And then bring that hand back down in front of the face. Press into that hand to bring the other hand up. And then bring that knee back down. Wiggle the hips side to side. Take a few breaths. So this can get the back side of the shoulders really well, depending on how you play with it. So opposite leg out, heel in line with the knee. Whichever leg is out, the opposite arm reaches up towards the sky. And then exhale, thread the needle under, let the shoulder and the side of the head come down to the mat. Take a few breaths. Press into the hand in front of your face to increase the twist here. And then play again with this arm. So maybe the arm goes up to the sky. And then maybe you can play with bringing that hand back behind you, keeping the shoulder away from the ear as much as possible, trying to increase the stretch across the front of the shoulder. Deep breaths. And once again, you guys can play with like a half bind, putting the hand behind the back, working the fingers towards the hip crease, or the hand above the head on the ground. There are lots of options. When you're ready, bring that arm in front of the face again. Press with your strength into that hand. Bring the other hand underneath the shoulder, and then bring that knee back in. Again, wag the tail. If you turned yourself on the mat, this would be a good time to turn back. And if you want a down dog, you can take one. Oh my gosh, I just noticed that there's like a heater way closer to me in this room. I turned on the heater that was way far away from me. So I'm gonna see if this one makes me warm. So down dog is an option right now if you want it. If you're not gonna choose down dog, I would wag the tail, do some C curves or a cat-cow. And then here's what I'm gonna have you guys do. So wherever you are, come towards a child's pose. So sit your hips back. And you might want to actually descend the head. And I really want something underneath your forehead. So I want your forehead supported. So you can opt out of this, but this is just another shoulder opener. So if your forehead is supported, bring your arms behind your back and clasp the hands. So that's step one. So you might feel a lot of pressure on your forehead, which is why I really want it supported, hopefully with something soft, like a mat or a double mat or a blanket or a pillow. And then maybe you can begin to lift your hands off your back. So if this is too much pressure on your forehead, I totally understand. You can opt out of it. If your arms don't have that mobility or shoulders don't have that mobility today, that's okay too. I'm super cold. My shoulders aren't liking it today. But yesterday when I was in my warm house, it was great. And then whatever you've chosen for child's pose, you can also do extended arms above the head and keep them active. And then another option is to tent the hands so that you're just on fingertips, and then try to let the shoulders move down towards the mat. So tent the hands so the fingertips are tall or fingertips are grounded and palms are super tall. And then let the shoulders pull down towards the mat. Take another breath or two. Just trying to get into the shoulders if you can't tell. And then gently release. You can pull the hands back underneath the shoulders, press up so that you can sit off to one side. Bring the legs around. And then gently and slowly bring yourself down onto your back. Bring knees into chest. Rock side to side. And then right foot grounds, left foot crosses into figure four. Pause there, just check in with your body. And then lift if that's where your body wants to go today or has space to go. And then you all know the options in figure 4. So circling the foot, extending that right leg up to the sky, rocking gently side to side. Any of those can be what you choose to do today. Two more breaths on this side. And then float the leg back down to the mat if it was in the air. Pause just for a moment here. Try to press the left knee away from the body, making some space in that left hip. And then allow the knee to rest wherever it wants to. Bring both arms out to a T, and then gently, with your core supporting you, twist over towards the right. The left foot might reach the ground. If this is not enough of a twist, you can tuck that left foot underneath the right knee for more of a twist. Enjoying wherever you are, allowing the mind to calm. If things have come back to busy the mind, let that all go again and again and again. That's our human nature. No judgment, just awareness. And then trying to make change. Millimeter by millimeter, inch by inch. Feeling the openness across the shoulders, across the chest, across the heart space. And then engage the core to bring the legs back to center, realign the spine in any way if it got cattywampus. And then uncross the left leg. Now that we're supine, let's take the feet wide and rock the knees side to side. And if you want to pause, because it's a nice stretch for that hip flexor and in to the quads, feel free to do that. If you want to get to the other side of figure 4 faster, feel free to move into that already. But opening up that hip flexor area, we closed that when we were doing the little knee drops and the stretches. So opening that back up is a really good way to get that synovial fluid back into the joint and those muscles stretched. And then eventually crossing the right ankle onto the left thigh. If you're with me, then just pause right there for a moment before you make any choices about where you take your body. And then all the same options for the figure 4 today. Eventually letting the left leg float down to the mat if it was up. Using your right hand to help your right knee move away from the body. Right hand can be on the thigh, helping with just gentle pressure. Again, getting into that hip space. And then release, let the knee come back to its natural place. And then arms out to a T again, allowing both legs to rock over to the left. Right foot might meet the ground or the mat. And then again, just enjoying this supine twist. Trying to quiet the mind. Using a focal point like the breath. In my own practice, I really like to play mantras. I've recently found a guy that sings mantras. He has a little Shruti box that he plays and he sings along with it, or like on Amazon Music, which is what I have. Deva Premal is great. She sings lots of mantras. Take 2 more breaths here. Use your core strength to bring your legs back to center. Uncross, reposition the spine. Take any last little movements that you want before Shavasana, and then bring yourself into final relaxation. Scanning the body. Starting maybe at the mind. Again, allowing yourself to be human, not judging a busy mind. That's what we're trained to do, but we're trying to untrain ourselves. And then relax the jaw, the forehead, release tension between the eyebrows. Try to let go of any last muscles that are holding on in the neck and shoulders. Maybe a little wiggle to find those muscles that are unintentionally holding on. hands sink into the mat. Upper back, mid back, lower back, relax. Hips relax, letting the legs roll out a bit. Legs feel heavy. Feet relax. Scan on your own, back up the body. And then focus on the breath. Allow the breath to come in and out as it wishes. And enjoy the next few moments of quiet, calm nothingness. Begin to deepen your breath. Start to wake your body, easing out of your relaxation, coming back, noticing, feeling what's around you, feeling the air on your skin, and working your way slowly up to a seated position. Bringing hands to heart center. Taking a few deep cleansing breaths, maybe releasing out the mouth. The light in me sees and honors the light within each of you. Namaste.